What's going on, guys? Welcome welcome all. This is the Miguel Berchelt versus Oscar Valdez post-fight reaction. Of course, this is also Get It Right Saturday night, so we got to get it right with a little bit of whiskey. Whatever you're drinking or doing or engaging in, more power to you. I won't judge you. This is a place where adults come after the fights. Every Saturday night we go live after the fights to discuss what happened. Cheers. And today was just an absolutely incredible super featherweight title bout between Oscar Valdez and Miguel Berchelt. We also had Josh Kelly fighting David Avanesian for a European welterweight title. We discussed that a little bit earlier today. You could watch that in another video. But the most important thing right now is Oscar Valdez versus Miguel Berchelt. Let me tell you guys something. I was wrong. I was 100% wrong about coming to this fight. I thought Berchelt was going to be a little bit too much for Oscar Valdez. And my goodness, was I wrong about Oscar Valdez. And another thing I want to add was I was completely wrong about Miguel Berchelt. I didn't know. I wasn't educated enough to predict all of the shortcomings of Miguel Berchelt coming back to haunt him in this fight. And what am I talking about? Well, there's a lot to unpack. So let's talk about the fight a little bit. But again, let me focus on the shortcomings of Miguel Berchelt. First and foremost, I noticed that as long as Oscar Valdez was moving, Berchelt just could not settle in and throw combinations like he typically does. He just couldn't do it. A lot of difficulty fighting on the move and chasing Valdez down. Another thing I noticed was, and they talked about this on the broadcast, was how easily he's hit. Something like the eighth worst defense in the division or something like that. I mean, he was getting absolutely leveled by the shots Oscar Valdez was winging back to him, especially that vicious left hook that Oscar Valdez has, which looks like, knuckleheads, a one-hitter quitter. And for a guy in the 130-pound division, that's very impressive, especially considering he was coming up from 126 not too long ago. So again, back to Berchelt, an inability to throw punches without planting his feet. That came back to haunt him. Very porous defense. That came back to haunt him. He got caught a million times today with a million clean shots. Another thing, he gets hurt, and the guy's got such a big heart. I don't want to hold it against him, Big shout out to George Estrada and John Oliver in the chat. By the way, everybody viewing, appreciate you guys being here. I want to give it to him, man. Huge heart for Miguel Berchelt. But when you're hurt, this is boxing. You're the champ. You have to be developed enough. Winning has to mean enough to you for you to take a knee or hold the guy if you're that hurt. It's as if Miguel Berchelt doesn't know anything other than to fight back when he's hurt. Especially the first knockdown, I believe it was around the fourth round, that really did him in. I mean, that was a very damaging shot. You saw his legs were still compromised in the following round. Excuse me, and I'm talking about the first knockdown. I believe it was around the fourth round. And he just doesn't take a knee and take his time and try to wrap the guy up. No, he just... And he's very upright. He's not really moving his head. And, he's just getting caught. He's getting caught. There's no, there's no clinching. There's no nothing to give himself a breather to come back into the fight. And amazingly, despite the fact that the guy fights with just on 100% balls and testosterone, despite that, he somehow got back into this fight in the 6th round, right? And started coming on, and I said to myself, holy shit, this guy is a fucking zombie, because he just comes forward like this. He wants your brains, he throws a couple punches, he keeps coming, there was not a lot of thinking. He just comes forward and wants your brains. And that's what I was thinking. I was thinking this guy's a zombie. But then Valdez, again, he was moving, he was trying to box, he was countering. He said to himself, you know what? Fuck it, this guy's wide open for a vicious right or left hook. His hands are never here. Berchelt's hands are always here, wide open. He has no defense. He doesn't try to move his head. He doesn't try to block. And just bang, bang. I mean, Valdez hit him with some shots in this fight, you guys. He was teeing off on him at points in this fight, and Berchelt was just absorbing it. But look, the guy's brain was already compromised. I mean, if you saw him in the 4th round and in the 5th round, his legs were gone, and his legs stayed gone. He was discombobulated. I mean, for the majority of the fight, almost from the 4th round on. And immediately after the fight, we'll get into the knockout, okay? Because this, for me, with everything that was on the line and the brutality of it, the sheer brutality of it, it was disturbing, and it was a knockout of the year candidate. And let me tell you guys something. I haven't seen a knockout like that, in a very long time. And we'll get into that in a second. But immediately after the fight, Dan Bam Bam Stell hit me up, professional former kickboxer, our referee at FightersRep, refereed, boxing events. He's refereed Artur Beterbiev, Kung Lee, and MMA, a bunch of guys. And he told me that referee should lose his job. And another person was Marco Martinez. Big shout out to Marco in the chat. He also says, this is a big boy sport. He texted me. But that guy took way too much damage. And you know what? I have to agree. You do want to give the champ the benefit of the doubt. But you don't want him to end up dead. And look, when Oscar Valdez, in the finishing sequence, was retreating backwards, Berchelt committed to a punch. Valdez slipped it and came back with his money shot, the left hook, and it landed flush on Berchelt's face. When this man absorbed that shot, his body, after absorbing vicious shots throughout this fight, his body just completely shut down on impact. It was as if Oscar Valdez hit a light switch, you guys. And it was so brutal and so impressive and so disturbing. I had such a mix of emotions watching this thing, As soon as it landed, this guy's body just became absolute dead weight. It was like a corpse. And he just fell in on himself. It kind of reminds me of those video games, that use that I guess natural ragdoll physics, or whatever they call it, ragdoll physics, where, the body just goes limp and it kind of just falls and tumbles on itself. It also makes you think of like when they demolition a building and it kind of implodes on itself. The guy was just absolute dead weight when that punch landed. Beautiful shot, vicious knockout, but very disturbing to watch as this man collapsed to a knee and collapsed onto himself with just no control at all, just like a complete ragdoll. And then he didn't move. And I said to myself, holy cow, man, what is this? What just happened here? In my opinion, this fight could have very well been stopped. in the 4th round or in the 5th round, right? In the 4th round, I believe it was, when he got knocked down, the referee asked him to get back up, and he was all over the place. In the 5th round, when his legs were still wobbly, definitely, I think this fight could have been stopped a round or two before. I just think the reason that he got put out, and I believe they talked about this on the broadcast, the reason he got destroyed, knocked out in the fashion that he got knocked out in, is because of the amount of damage that accumulated and the amount of damage he was allowed to absorb throughout this fight. The referee needed to do a better job here. You know, the referee needed to do a better job. And big shout out to everyone in the chat. George Estrada, my brothers, Modelo Time, what it do, my boy. Big shout out to my brother George, always supporting. Thank you so much, my man. I really appreciate your support. As you guys know, anything you guys donate to the channel in a super chat gets reinvested right back into the channel, right back into the promotion, where I'm going to be showcasing, hopefully soon, hopefully before the end of the year, they let us do fights, where we're going to be showcasing some of the best young talent in the world as far as fighting goes. But big shout out to everybody in here. Appreciate you guys being in here. It was a great fight. It was a fantastic fight. Very entertaining. I couldn't believe, though, when Berchelt started coming back in the 6th round, but, you know, there's only so much a fucking human being can take. I mean, I don't know, you guys. I don't know. I've never seen a human. I mean, it's very rare for a human being to have the ability to absorb that kind of punishment and somehow find it. Find the will, find the way, have the freaking spirit. I mean, listen, man, big shout out to La Raza, bro. That was just crazy. That was just crazy. And I have so much respect for Oscar Valdez, even though I hate the fact that he left my boy Manny Robles, but I got so much respect for him because that was a wild performance, you guys. Salud, my brothers. Let's see. So, let's see what's going on in here, man. A lot to unpack. I also saw in the UFC, Derek Lewis knocked out Curtis Blades. And I came on a little bit later because Adrien Broner was fighting. And I don't know if you guys watched that Adrien Broner fight. I was able to catch the latter half of it after, watching the insanity that was Oscar Valdez versus Berchelt. And that Puerto Rican kid beat Adrien Broner. I don't care what anybody says. That kid, Giovanni Santiago, I believe his name was, he beat Adrien Broner. Adrien Broner got a gift decision tonight. I thought the Puerto Rican kid edged the fight. Adrien Broner looks like shit, man. It's really sad. And I do think had Adrien Broner been declared the loser of that fight tonight, it would have been the end of his career for sure. And I don't know, man. I just think you got to rank it up there as one of the saddest stories in boxing. For a guy to go from a 4-division champion, right, to getting a gift decision against, a guy, quite frankly, that I've never even heard of in Giovanni Santiago. So, yeah, let me switch over to the chat, see what everybody's saying. But before I do that, hit the subscribe button, the bell notification icon next to it. Join Knucklehead Nation. Share this video with people. Subscribe, like. Be sure to hit the like button. If you don't hit the like button, the algorithm will never show love to Knucklehead Nation, which you guys are a part of. So definitely hit the subscribe button. Join the channel, man. If you guys join the channel, it's just $5 a month. You help me continue to build the channel as well as the promotion. That's 16 cents a day, man. Be part of building the promotion. So John Oliver says, I admit the hush Oscar gave was for me. Props to Valdez. It was for me too. I thought he was going to lose this fight. I thought Valdez was going to lose this fight. Hey, at least I was on the right round and fight plan of Oscar Valdez. Just thought it wasn't going to be enough to stop Miguel Berchelt train. What a boxing fight tonight, everyone, says George Estrada. You've never lied, my brother. Kevin La Rosa My brother in here says Terminator style. Kevin actually predicted Valdez to win this fight. Good on you, Kevin. You nailed it, man. I thought Berchelt was gonna do the business tonight. Nothing doing, guys. Nothing doing, man. I look a mess. Look, I look like a rooster today. What's going on here? Marco Martinez says that was a nasty KO, guys. That's a knockout of the year, man. I mean, I don't know how anybody, I mean, it's possible, but that's a knockout of the year's kind of performance. I mean, with everything that was on the line, underdog, WBC title, going up against Miguel Berchelt, you know, two Mexican warriors going at it, representing for La Raza, trying to show who the alpha dog was. It's just too much on the line to say that was not a brutal, I mean, that was a brutal knockout of the year candidate. If you ask me, it's the best one I've seen, I think, all year. Salute, says Hawker Mustang. Salute, my brother. Salute. Alex Chavez, mi hermano. He says, fight was absolutely fire, bro. I know Yuma. I know everybody in Yuma must have been tuned into that. Big shout out to my brother, Alex Chavez, a member of the channel. Represented for Yuma, Arizona. So shout out to Alex and the wonderful people of Yuma, Arizona. Much love. Hawker Mustang says that was a pretty big upset. Do you think Miguel Berchelt would beat Lomachenko? No, I don't. No, I don't. Hawker Mustang says he jumped into that shot face first. You know, he committed to the punch. He committed to the punch. He seems to throw most. I don't know. Look, he seems to have difficulty punching if he's not, you know, completely setting his feet. Even when he set his feet, it's almost like he had to throw a couple soft ones and then go in for the hard ones. The strategy was just not working out for him, but it could have been just, you know, the fact that he ate such a nasty shot in that fourth round from Valdez that he just never recovered. He never fully recovered. That said, Hawker, you know, I thought it was a beautiful setup by Valdez, slipping, ducking low, and coming up with a nasty, I mean, man, that left was vicious. Marco Martinez says, when you see the guys who have been seriously brain damaged or died in the ring or do the fight, it's normally not because of a big punch, it's the accumulation. I agree, and that's what bothered me about tonight, you know, and that's what makes me so grateful as a promoter to be able to work with an experienced guy who is not only experienced in refereeing and has his own school where he teaches people how to referee and officiate. And I'm talking about Dan Bam Bam Still. But he's a former fighter, 17-0 in kickboxing, 15 knockouts. He knew what it was to be in there. He knew kickboxing, you know, that's the sport I promote. That's what FightersRep is. It's one of the most brutal sports, you know, because you're not just landing nasty punches like we saw tonight. You're landing shin bones to the face, you know, so you got to know when somebody's hurt. You got to know when to jump in there and stop the fight. Listen, Berchelt, as much credit as you want to give him, I mean, a round or two before the finish, you know, we already knew what the outcome was going to be. You know, give the man a chance to come back and redeem himself. Don't put him in a position where he's going to fight to the death, because he will. You know, a lot of these kids will just fight to the death, man. And you gotta, that's your job as a referee and especially as a coach. I don't know what his coaches were doing. You gotta, you know, he looked like an absolute mess in the corner. I mean, he looked like a mess. He looked like he was dying in the corner to me. And when he ate that shot and crumbled like that, stopped moving, I'm not going to lie, guys. I crossed myself. I said, man, please don't let this man be dead. Please let this guy be all right, because he's such a warrior, you know, but besides that, he's a human being. You know, you don't want to see that happen to a person, but he's such a warrior. And you know, you got to save him from himself, man. You got to save him from themselves, these guys. Claudio Morreal says, I told everyone Valdez was going to win. Good on you, Claudio. Congrats, brother. Hawker says, Miguel Berchelt has a hard head like a caveman. Absolutely. Fighters' corners really should be held more accountable. They can pull the cord at any point. That's half their job, says Marco Martinez. Exactly. I mean, what were what are you thinking? You're supposed to care about the guy. And look, I know you're trying to keep him in there. I know, you think he can still pull it out perhaps, or you want to give him the opportunity, and maybe you ask him, he says no. Of course he's going to say no. It's Miguel Berchelt. He's not going to, when you ask him, should we stop the fight? He's not going to say, yeah, just stop this shit. He's not that guy. He's not that guy, you guys. He's going to say, no, don't stop this shit. I'm going to keep fighting till I'm dead. So anyway, that was a rough one, man. That was a rough one. Hawker Mustang says, AB got a gift. PBC that says, he sure did. He sure did, man. That shit was a joke, bro. Marco Martinez says, I would like to hear what a doctor or someone who knows about brain injuries to describe the difference in the trauma between what happened to Valdez opponents and Curtis Blades. What are the potential long-term effects? I mean, we've seen it. But I'm sure there's a lot of stuff we don't know about. Maybe we need to get a doctor on the show, kind of explain it all to us. Hawker Mustang says, it was a great fight. I'm happy Miguel Berchelt looks to be okay. Don't throw in the towel for Deontay Wilder, though. Oh, my God. That guy's... no comment on Deontay Wilder, you guys. In your opinion, what went wrong with Broner? Was he ever any good? I remember when he was the next big thing, crushing guys. But looking back, none of those guys were any good. Broner had talent. But Broner never fought anybody until he ran into Marcos Maidana, who really wanted to fight him back. You know what I mean? Also, Broner is the guy, his problem, despite having talent, is... he's a one-punch kind of guy. Once in a while, he throws combinations. But, he's trying to be sharp all the time. And you can't be sharp all the time. Sometimes you got to throw your hands. You got to let your hands go. And that's been Broner's problem, especially after the Marcos Maidana fight. That fight, I think kind of mentally broke him a little bit. And he was never the same after that fight. And he was gun-shy after that fight. He used to let his hands go a little bit more and be more aggressive as far as pressing his opponents. But when he ran into Marcos Maidana, that changed. I think that changed. And listen, he was a 4-division champion. I mean, obviously some of the people he fought were weak, but he was still a 4-division champion. And he does have talent. He's got good speed. It's just he doesn't let his hands go enough. And his defense is not good enough to do that style. He's trying to be like Mayweather, where he's slick and tries to counter you and tries to use his speed and reflexes, but he doesn't have the technical ability to do that. He doesn't have the defensive ability. He just throws one punch at a time when he finds a hole. It's not enough. If you throw volume, you can beat him, and that's what's been happening to him. He just gets beaten with volume over and over again because he's not throwing enough punches. Ellipses says, had a rough one today. Took a L, disappointed, big dog. It was a rough one, man. Let me tell you. It was a rough one. But we'll be back. We get most of them right. It's just been a bad few weeks for us. Although last week we did okay. Marco Martinez says he's a 4-time champ, but who did he beat for the titles? Yeah, not world beaters, that's for sure. AB didn't even make 140 like they agreed upon. I thought it was a welterweight. I thought it was a welterweight bout tonight. I could be wrong. Maybe you're talking about another fight. I don't know. But Broner, excuse me, guys. Broner is a mess. Shout out to my brother, George Estrada. Everybody show some love to my boy. Hey, man. George, if everybody was as generous as you, my brother, I would, I'd be able to be a promoter full time, which is, it's the end goal. It's the end goal, but you got to get enough people to believe in you to get there, and unfortunately we're not there yet. But hopefully, as soon as this stupid pandemic is over, I can have more people like my brother George Estrada that donates and shows love to the channel all the damn time. So I appreciate it. Also, if you guys want to, help financially and get something out of it, I mean, we definitely not only have the join button below where you could join the channel, but we also have FightersRep gear in the links below. We got these hoodies, we got shirts, masks, tank tops. They're really nice. So, I don't think they're that bad. I think the shirt's like $20. So, you get that and you're a knucklehead, man. But much love to George Estrada. Mad Dog H, what's up, brother? He says, KO of the year for Valdez. Mad Dog, man. I gotta agree, man. I gotta agree. I mean, wow. What do you even say? I mean, what do you even say about a knockout like that? I mean, that should be on every ESPN highlight on the planet. That should be there. Claudio Monreal says Broner was good at 130, 135. He isn't good at 147. I agree with that. And he's just not disciplined enough, I think, to make 130 or 135 anymore. It's really sad. And also he's broke. I mean, he's got that About Billions, skirt or whatever he was wearing today, shorts or whatever those were tonight. It's embarrassing to watch. I mean, it's really embarrassing to watch. You had a guy, 4-division champ, so much talent. Whether you like him or not, he was a draw. And the guy's broke, and he's wearing an About Billions skirt in the ring. And, and he's getting gift decisions against guys we've never heard of in our lives. And, I was really sad for Giovanni Santiago because, as a kid coming out of Puerto Rico, trying to make a name for himself, I thought he did the business tonight, man. I thought he got done dirty. Boxing is a dirty fucking sport, man. But, besides kickboxing, maybe eventually we'll start promoting boxing as well. And we'll continue our culture where we put together fair fights and hopefully get fair decisions. Let's see here. My boy, I believe in you. Much appreciated, George Estrada, man. Thank you so much. AB looked great beating up midgets, though, says Hawker Mustang. And Mad Dog says, I had AB losing this fight. I agree, man. I thought he lost the fight, man. I thought he lost the fight. I didn't think he looked good. I thought he looked like trash, man. Let's see here. Now he says he got $13 million thanks to Al Heyman. AB said he only had $13 before the fight. Now he's got $13 million. Oh my God, you guys. I don't know, you guys. I don't know. That guy has problems. I'll be honest with you. As he was standing there, and this is me being 100%, I'm a sucker for my fellow man. As he was standing there waiting for the decision to be read, I was looking at his body language and I said to myself, how embarrassing. I felt bad for him. And I said, how embarrassing must he be right now? If you would have saw his body language, it was a body language of disappointment and embarrassment, because he probably thought they might announce that this guy beat me and nobody's even heard of this guy and I'm Adrien Broner. And I felt like he was probably reflecting on his career, saying to himself, I went from a 4-division draw champ to, he's like a club level, he's like a club level fighter at this point, you guys. And it's not like he's old. How old is Adrien Broner, right? Let's check it out. Adrien Broner, how old is he? 31 years old. He should be priming right now. And instead, he's out here looking like trash, man. I legitimately felt bad for him, and I said to myself, if he would have just had more people in his life to pull him aside and say, hey, man, like, tighten up, man. Stop with this bullshit. Like, you got talent. You can make it. You can be the next Floyd Mayweather. You know, this guy's a guy who really flushed his talent down the toilet, never lived up to his potential. That's my opinion. And it was sad. It was sad for me watching the decision get read today. Not only for Giovanni, not only for boxing and its legitimacy, but for Adrien Broner, man. That's a huge fall from grace. Huge fall from grace. You know I can't leave without mentioning my 209 brother getting a win as well. That's right, man. Wow. Wow, that kid looked fabulous. What is it, Gabriel Flores? Gabriel Flores Jr., man. Listen, he finished Jason Valdez in 6 rounds. Big shout out to Stockton and my brother Kevin LaRosa from Stockton. He finished Jason Valdez, a guy who I believe went 10 rounds with Oscar Valdez, the champ. Flores beat him in 6. This Flores kid is for real. And he's got Andre Ward mentoring him. You guys better believe, your sweet knucklehead asses, that this guy is the real fucking deal. And let me tell you guys something. And Kevin, I'm glad you mentioned that, brother, in the 209, which he's referring to Stockton. Stockton, California. Listen, Stockton, California is a rough, run-down place, but it makes champions. It makes a lot of fighters. They come from that rough environment. And this is the first thing that popped in my mind was, man, I got some kids from up there that have competed for FightersRep. Just fantastic talents that we will make them on this channel. We will make them household names. That's my hope. Such talented kids. But anyway, AB can tell that he really didn't win. I could see it. Yeah, I thought so too. And who was the guy C+ level with heart, I think? I think he's referring to Santiago, Giovanni Santiago. I mean, just some kid out of Puerto Rico. Let's see, Giovanni Santiago. Let's take a look at him. 14-1 now. 10 KOs. I mean, the kid didn't really have a shot. You know, the kid really didn't have a shot, or shouldn't have had a shot. But this was a setup fight. This is what boxing does. So anyway, knuckleheads, we've been on here over half an hour. Listen, I'm going to be getting you guys a lot more content. Now that things are kind of drawing back and getting reined in as far as the lockdown and everything, I'm going to have a lot more access to gyms. We're going to go talk to some great fighters and coaches. And obviously, we're going to continue to put out our content and have our discussions every day, 7 p.m. Pacific. So I ask that you guys, please support the channel, share it, tell your friends about it. I want to get to 10,000 subscribers, man. We're close to 7,000, but I would love to get to 10,000 at some point. That would mean a lot to me. I hope you guys share the channel. Tell your friends to subscribe. Tell them to join the conversation. Hit like, subscribe, join the channel, whatever it is you do. I appreciate you guys. I'm going to wrap it up, continue with my whiskey, and we'll talk tomorrow, man. But yeah, I'll be getting you guys a lot more content with fighters, coaches, everything else. And if there's something you guys want to see, let me know. I have access to a lot of people out here in SoCal. So anyway, you guys have a great night. Appreciate you guys. Knucklehead Nation up. Much love to you guys.